I want to give you some tips, just some basic tips. Number one, and most important, walk your talk. People look at those above them in status to determine how they really should behave. Thus, I believe it's critically important for the CEO and everyone else on the C-level to walk their talk. Let me give you just one example, which I personally observed when consulting to this company for several years. CEO AGK, about whom I've written before, believed in the balance between work and family. Still believes in it, come to think of it. When I was consulting to his company, he left in the middle of the afternoon frequently to pick up his kids at school and bring them home, since his wife was working full-time elsewhere. He also allowed his employees to leave if they had to midday to handle family matters. That didn't mean the work didn't get done. AGK and his employees would either work from home in the evening or come in after the kids were taken care of later in the evening. Next, recognize that values need to trickle down. Isn't it often true that there's a written set of values in the waiting room, but employees may or may not follow those rules? Let me give you an example from many years ago at Intel. Andy Grove instituted what he called constructive criticism. The intent of the policy was to give people permission to brainstorm, to offer suggestions for improvement, and by their interaction, create better products and outcomes. Working with many people from many different areas in Intel, I learned that sometimes this concept trickled down well, and people worked together to create more creative and effective services and products. Unfortunately, in other areas, some managers took it as permission to be cruelly critical and malicious in their criticism. I want to talk about proper job descriptions because I think that they add to what we're talking about. I don't think the job description should be lists of anything and everything you ever thought you might possibly want. Instead, there should be a hierarchy of importance with only those things that really matter listed. Do you really need someone with 5 years experience? Or could the right person with 4.5 years be okay? What about me, who couldn't pick up the 40 pounds, but had luggage with wheels? So, don't state 5 years of experience. Don't make wish lists, but only those things that matter. Prioritize wants and needs. That helps too. Next, hire well. Skills can be taught. Personality is fixed. Attitude is much more difficult and sometimes even impossible. Also, be sure you know what you need and don't settle for anything less. Next tip, make sure your code of ethics is clear. When working with clients, we spend a lot of time really defining the type of culture we want and create a code of ethics that is clear, unambiguous, and sets the tone. This is followed up by posters, literature, sometimes mouse pads, and quarterly meetings with reminders. We want people to understand and follow the spirit of the law, which is far more important than rigidly following the rules. Make sure you reward that which furthers that culture. Quality, not quantity, for example. Create a code of ethics that agrees with the wanted culture and is clear, unambiguous, and sets the tone. Reinforce and follow up, and reinforce and follow up, and reinforce and follow up again. Don't ever take it for granted. Reward the right and worthy behaviors. We all know that you get what you tend to reward. So if people are paid for seniority, they're not rewarded for their contributions to the company and often learn how to slide by. If you reward quantity of phone calls, your call center agents don't really care about solving the customer's problems. They want to take as many calls as possible an hour. Do you reward time at work? I came in earlier than the boss and left later. Or the accomplishments made that day. Is having a satisfied customer less or more important than the quantity of calls taken? Do you hire yes men and women, or do you want and reward honest feedback? And, as I said earlier, create opportunities for social responsibility. Since so many companies produce products that are useful, but not thought of as saving humanity, people working for these companies don't necessarily feel good about their jobs and the products of the company. These social responsibility activities are a way to build goodwill. Being involved in activities that overtly help the community not only give employees a good feeling, but they actually really act as excellent team-building activities. And also, doing good gives you bragging rights about your company and your role. Let me conclude. Attitude is everything. Have you ever worked with someone who followed the rules so precisely that things got messed up and he never succeeded? That's also about attitude. Attitude is everything. You can make all the rules in the world, but if people don't have the right attitude of fairness, kindness, respect, and wanting to do their best, things won't work out. Individuals who operate from a thoughtful set of personal values and attitudes provide the foundation for a healthy corporate culture. A corporate tradition that encourages freedom of inquiry, supports personal values, and reinforces a focused sense of direction. This can fulfill the need for individuals along with the prosperity and success of their group. The core values of a company matter. If they're positive and followed, it goes a long way actually towards sustaining profitability. The principles of ethics, when honored, ensure that the playing field is level, that we're doing our own work or ideas, and that we are honest and fair in our interactions with others, whether personally or in business. Happy employees equal happy customers. Now, the magic, my answer to example 1. I would hire both A and B. You owe your stockholders and employees the best you can find. That's candidate A. You also have a moral and ethical obligation to keep your promise to employee B, and so you should give him or her a job more commensurate with their actual skills. You can find a role for both of them. Thank you.